Hey guys, today I'm going to be walking you guys through how to scan a rough draft of either a sketch or a logo. This could be something that you have to do for a class or something that you need to do for yourself. And I've already gone through the process of actually scanning these files in using my Canon scanner. And you could go through and use any sort of scanning software you'd like to if you have a scanner. If you don't have a scanner, you could use your phone by using an app called Scannable. If you're an iOS user, if you're an Android user, you're going to have to use Adobe Scan because there's not too many great scanning applications for mobile devices these days on Android. But I prefer to use a flatbed scanner, and honestly, my scanner is like a $99 scanner that's USB powered, so it's nothing super special. And yeah, so I just scanned these files in for us to kind of demo through this real quick. I've got basically three different types of scans at three different levels of kind of quality. And you can see that this first one is just absolutely trashed. You can still see all my lines in the background that I'm using for ascender lines and all the different stuff to make sure that my mean lines and base lines are all aligning. And then this next one is obviously far more refined. This one has been inked. So the first one was just purely pencil and smudges and erasers. I left this one kind of crappy just in case. For the reason of showing you guys that you can take something that looks horribly trashed and make it look really presentable. And then this next one is obviously the cleanest. And then the third one is just an illustration that I've been working on for a piece of art and showing you. This came from many different mediums. It came from markers, it came from transparency markers, Copic pens, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, so let's do this first one here because this is the obviously worst one. And some people might do this differently. Some people might go the easy route, which I'll show you the easy route real quick here. And I would encourage you not to do this. But the easy route would be to go to Image and go to Adjustments and to click this kind of one click wonder of this thing called Threshold. And basically what it does is it takes everything that is grayscale and just dumps all the gray. And it allows you to kind of choose the frequency of what level of gray is going to be dumped. But for the most part, it's a pretty quick thing to do here. So if I just click Threshold, you guys can see that this goes from being kind of a trashy looking sketch to a trashy looking pixelated image, almost like a photocopier from the 1980s. So if you were trying to go for that 1980s photocopy look, this would be your photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy, and which could be fun sometimes if you're doing artwork like that. So if you're looking for the quick down and dirty, like I just got to get this done fast, then you could go through in Threshold, but I would encourage you guys not to. The way that I would do something like this, obviously I'm going to move more towards something being inked. That's kind of in my workflow, but I left this one as non-inked, or I pulled out of my archives the non-inked version. And here's how I would do this. I would just go to Image Adjustments, and I'm going to choose Levels. You could choose Curves or Exposure, whichever one you want to use, whichever one you're more comfortable with using. I just find that Levels are real quick and fast for me. And I'm not doing, if you're noticing this, I'm not doing this on an adjustment layer. And the reason I'm not doing the adjustment layer is I really kind of want to make compound adjustments to this. I don't want to go back and have my initial sketch to kind of reference off of as I'm making adjustment layers. I just want to kind of do this permanently. So I'm going to do Levels, and I'm going to bring, for the first task, I'm going to bring my gray slider here up, and that's going to darken my blacks. And then I'm going to bring my white slider into the histogram here. And then this gray area in the middle here, you can adjust and pull out some of the smudges that are in the background by moving your gray slider more towards the black slider. And obviously you're going to lose a bit of value there. This becomes pretty flat, but that's okay. I think we'll be fine once we see the final result. So I'm going to click OK. And then it seems ridiculous, but I'm going to go right back into Image, and I'm going to go to Adjustments and Levels, and all my Photoshop teachers are cringing right now. I promise you I don't do this for anything other than this. So I'm going to bring my black slider back up, and I'm going to darken down my image, and then I'm going to bring my grays back down a little bit and just bring my grays and black back to a little closer to each other. And honestly, I'm going to drop the white Notice it's getting rid of my background lines there and some of the smudges. So I kind of like this. I'm okay with seeing a little bit of smudges and sketches if I'm trying to show like that initial sketch or comp to a client and I'm wanting to show it in a digital fashion. By the way, guys, this was scanned on tracing paper. So this is not on white Bristol board or anything special. This is just your run-of-the-mill. I do use nice tracing paper, so I recommend you guys getting nice tracing paper, but this was straight from tracing paper. So you can see just a real quick difference, guys, in scanning something in and having it look like garbage, and then 2 quick levels adjustments gives us a nice dark contrasty sketch that we can place into our process books or mood boards or whatever we're doing for presentation to the client. And obviously this was a 1, 2, 3-step process because I did rotate the canvas, so 3 steps right there. And then this one here, guys, let's go to this one because this one's super fast, real easy. You can really, in this one, go to image, adjustments, and click threshold, and you'll get a dark image right there. No gray, black, white, no sketch marks, no nothing. That's the beauty of using an inked sketch after you're done with the pencil. You can see this was done with pencil, and I did ink right over top of it. And you know, I decided to change the shape of some of these letters as I was drawing them. So by clicking a real quick threshold, it dumps all the gray, dumps all the background sketch areas, and that gets us our real quick down and dirty. So that initial one that we were showing a minute ago, we couldn't get that from this. We had to go to an ink version to get there. And then this one here, we're going to leave this one because I kind of like the lines in there. We'll go through and do just a real quick image adjustment. And let's do some levels here again. Bring up our blacks and bring our grays darker, and then bring our white. By bringing the white and dumping it, we are literally eliminating all of the white there. And as I bring this gray in, we start to have just a little bit of line work here. I like having this in my sketches still because I do like to reinforce to my clients that I did draw this by hand. It's not from a picture. It's something that I created. So I don't want them to think that I'm using any sort of stock photography or anything along those lines. I want them to see something that came out of my head, and I want them to appreciate it for what it is. So that's how you guys can go through and real quick take a crappy sketch, turn it into something that's a little more presentable for your process book or for your clients to take a look at. And I hope you guys found this helpful.